All right, ready to dig into one of those real turning points in American history, huh? The Gettysburg Campaign. Still sparks debates, still makes you wonder, what if? We're going deep on this one using the Gettysburg Campaign, June, July 1863, straight from the center of military history.
A lot of folks, they get caught up in the big names, the big battles.
Yeah.
But Gettysburg, it wasn't some preordained clash of titans. More like a series of choices, circumstances, like those strategy games where you don't see the whole board at once.
1863, right. Tensions high. Grant's winning in the West. Union's got some momentum. Confederacy's feeling the heat. So what does Lee do? Bold move, almost reckless, takes the offensive.
Lee, he was between a rock and a hard place. Confederacy needed a win, something big, something to make the North lose heart, maybe even bring England, France, to their side. Figured invade the North, take the pressure off down south, maybe even snatch a city, Harrisburg, or, think about this, Philadelphia.
Now, those are some high stakes. And as if that wasn't enough, just days before the fighting starts, the Union gets a new Commander General, George Meade. Can you imagine?
Tough spot for Meade. Got to stop Lee, the Army of Northern Virginia. Those boys are tough. And he's got to do it with an army that's tasted defeat more than once. This is where things get, unpredictable. Both armies, they're pulled towards this town, Gettysburg. Didn't seem like much at the time.
Funny how history works, huh? That chance encounter. And like so many pivotal moments, starts with cavalry clashing. June 30th, General John Buford, Union cavalry, runs into A.P. Hill's Confederates west of Gettysburg. Now, Buford, he's got this incredible sense of the ground, recognizes how important those crossroads are, knows he's got to buy time, delay those Confederates till Union reinforcements get there.
Crossroads. See, those were vital. Control the roads leading into Gettysburg. What Buford did that day absolutely changed the game. Just enough time for the Union First Corps General John Reynolds to arrive. Sets the stage for the first day of real fighting at Gettysburg, July 1st.
And that first day, man, it's a whirlwind. Little engagements, reconnaissance turns into full-on fighting. Talk about pressure, those Union boys rushing in, trying to hold back the Confederate tide.
And they're facing some tough customers. The Iron Brigade, you've heard of them, right? Those Midwestern boys, tough as nails. Erbst Woods, they clashed with Archer's Confederates. Fierce fighting. Union paid a high price that day. Lost General Reynolds right there in the thick of it.
Losing Reynolds, man, tough break for the Union right off the bat. Really shows how those early clashes, even the small ones, could change everything so fast.
And things, they only get more intense on day 2, July 2nd. Gettysburg turns into, well, a real mess. And one spot, one name everyone knows from this battle, Little Round Top, almost fell to the Confederates. All because of, well, a controversial move by a Union general, Daniel Sickles.
Sickles, right. Heard that name. What was the deal with his decision? Why'd he take the risk?
So Sickles, he's got the Union Third Corps, right? And he wasn't happy with where Meade put him. Thought the position was too exposed, too low. So what does he do? Takes it upon himself, moves his whole corps forward, looking for better ground.
Bold move. Risky. Going against orders in the middle of all that. What happened because of it?
Threw a wrench in Lee's plan, that's for sure. Lee wanted Longstreet to hit the Union left, but Sickles, moving like that, created this bulge in the line. Chaos. And here's the kicker. It leaves Little Round Top, that hill, key to the whole southern end of the battlefield, practically undefended.
Uh-oh. Yeah, that's not good. Someone saved the day.
Union General Gouverneur K. Warren, Meade's chief engineer, he sees it. Sees the mess, sees how exposed Little Round Top is. Talk about thinking on your feet, directs troops to the hill as they're marching by, just in time to meet the Confederate attack.
Talk about clutch. Little Round Top, this is where the 20th Maine, those guys become legends.
Exactly. Picture this. 20th Maine, Colonel Joshua Chamberlain near the end of the line. Left flank, the whole Union Army. Alabamians hit him hard, trying to flank him. Chamberlain, he knows they can't fall back. They give an inch. Confederates roll up the whole Union line. Ammo's running low.
Okay, now this is the part everyone remembers. What'd Chamberlain do?
Orders his men. Fix bayonets. They're charging. Can you imagine? Down that slope, bayonets ready. The 20th Maine, they routed those Alabamians. Amazing bravery. One of those moments that saved the Union that day.
Wild. But the fighting, it didn't stop there, did it? What else was happening on that second day?
Oh, it's a brawl all over. The wheat field right next to Little Round Top, that was just brutal. Imagine. Wheat field turns into this storm of smoke, fire hand to hand, units grinding on each other, back and forth, nobody gaining ground. The losses on both sides, awful.
Gets you thinking about those boys. Easy to focus on the generals, the big picture. But it's those stories, individual bravery, the sacrifices, that's what makes it real.
No doubt. Day 2 wasn't over yet either. Confederates, they hit Cemetery Hill hard. Lee, he wanted to crack the Union Center right there. Take Cemetery Hill, split the Union in two. Came awfully close. But the Union, they held on, pushed them back, somehow.
End of day two, both sides, I bet they were just spent. But neither Lee nor Meade, those guys were ready to quit, were they?
Lee, even after all the losses, he was going to roll the dice one more time.
So day three at Gettysburg, the tension must have been unreal. What's Lee thinking going into this after 2 days of just brutal fighting?
Lee, he knew he needed a game changer. Had to go for it, all or nothing. Decided to throw everything he had at the Union Center.
Aiming for, what was it called? The copse of trees, right in the middle of the Union line.
That's the one, Cemetery Ridge. Figured if they could break through there.
We're talking about Pickett's charge, right? One of those moments, everyone pictures it from the history books.
Yeah, but those paintings, those famous ones, they don't really show you how crazy it really was. Always those perfect lines of soldiers marching across a big open field like it's a parade or something. Reality was a lot different.
Yeah, paintings can only capture so much. So what really went down?
Okay, first off, you gotta understand, Pickett's charge wasn't just one charge. It was two, happening at the same time. Pickett's division was just one part of it. You had Pettigrew's division, Trimble's division. Those were part of A.P. Hill's corps they were supposed to hit at the same time.
So much bigger, more chaotic than people realize. But before all that, before the charge, there was that artillery bombardment, right?
Yeah, man. For like 2 hours, over 150 Confederate cannons just pounding the Union lines. I can't even imagine the noise, the ground shaking. Those Confederate boys getting ready to go, they must felt like they were marching into hell itself.
The courage to step out into that, knowing what you're facing. Hard to even comprehend.
Desperate gamble. They had to cross that open ground, Union soldiers firing on them from behind those stone walls up on Cemetery Ridge. Some of the Confederates, they actually made it to the Union lines. Unbelievable. Hand-to-hand fighting, absolute chaos, smoke everywhere. You can't tell who's who.
But the Union held, right, Pickett's charge, it failed. Turning point of the whole battle.
Oh, yeah. Crushing loss for the Confederacy. Lee, they say he was just devastated, blamed himself. The losses on both sides were just awful. But for the South, those losses, they couldn't afford them. Those men, those officers, they couldn't replace them.
Even though, Meade didn't chase Lee after the battle, Lincoln was never happy about that Gettysburg. It was a huge morale boost for the Union, proof that Lee wasn't invincible.
Absolutely. Gettysburg changed things, gave Lincoln the confidence to issue the Emancipation Proclamation a few months later. The war wasn't just about preserving the Union anymore. It was about freedom, ending slavery for good.
And then there's the Gettysburg Address, right? Just a few months later. A short speech, but man, those words still hit hard. Government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from this earth.
Amazing how Lincoln did that, you know? Took this horrific battle, all that death, and turned it into something hopeful, about rebuilding, about dedicating ourselves to something bigger.
It's incredible, isn't it? How these battles, these moments from so long ago, they still resonate, still have so much to teach us.
We often focus on the big stuff, the battles, the generals, the strategies. But we shouldn't forget the human cost. All those soldiers, on both sides, who never made it home. And what about the people who lived in Gettysburg? The families caught in the middle of it all. Their stories are important too.
That's something to think about, right? History isn't just dates and battles. It's about people, their courage, their sacrifices, their losses. Important to remember that as we learn about the past.
Absolutely. So yeah, as you dig deeper into Gettysburg, remember those stories, those individual experiences. They're what bring the past to life. You know, they remind us of the choices we make, the things we fight for. They really matter.